weekly kickoff for the week that November becomes December. I'm going to start us off as usual with an open round of appreciations. If anybody has any, feel free to raise your hand. I'll bring you up on stage. There's quite a few of us up here too. So appreciations, anybody? Well, it was a short week.
That's true. I appreciate DeFi Cafe for wrangling all of us and getting us, to actually land stuff. And, that I just, good leadership is important. I appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the performance improvements that I guess both of you were working on this past weekend.
Yeah, something to talk about after how we break that down and get that in.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate having a nice holiday weekend here in America too. That was nice.
I appreciate Denis Villeneuve's new Dune movie. Everybody should go see it.
I enjoyed it. Okay, well, let's just go ahead and get rolling with our kickoff. And DeFi, please start us off.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I haven't updated the slides here, but basically the update from last week was we got the Web V2 bounty stuff out. We were looking at just some performance improvements and stuff, especially around the charts. And now we're kind of the charts on the dashboard, and now we're looking more generally at planning and process around getting things in a more robust state across the board generally. I won't speak for Unchained too much. I'll let Adam and Kevin talk to that. But some of the performance stuff I took a look at over the break, some patterns that are going to get us in a more robust state. It was, pretty slow for loading stuff, but we can certainly improve that and just adopt some more kind of robust patterns for our state management and the way that we've abstracted a few things away, like the swapper and Theobald's working on the market service and things to add redundancy there, so we can pull data from multiple sources and not be reliant on a single point of failure. So that's pretty much going to be the focus of engineering now, is fixing up these abstractions that we took some shortcuts on, trying to get things in a solid foundation so that we can really open this up and start making some noise about attracting other developers and chains, projects, protocols, things like that. So that's pretty much it. I'll hand it over to Kevin.
Yeah, thanks. Along the same lines, now that we can catch our breath post V2 bounty, hopping back over to the transaction parsing module, the idea being we want to basically move some of the transaction parsing to the client via this module, also incorporate the cape identifiers, and bring in some of the pain points that we saw with the initial integration of the WebSockets and getting these parsed transactions across the client to just improve ergonomics with the client seeing everything related to a user's transaction history. And this will also allow us to have the back end be a little bit more stable and not require updates for every little transaction parsing need. And that will be important once we do have this more decentralized, more people are running Unchained back end. And yeah, we don't want to constantly be bumping these versions, having everybody try to stay in sync. So that kind of goes into the final point here of the ingester architecture planning. So with the way that Unchained Ingester was implemented initially, it was a little bit of a heavier kind of architecture design, more suited towards the centralized back end that we had in the legacy ShapeShift product. With the move to decentralization, we want to make that a little bit lighter weight. So we want to talk about how that will be done to be most efficient moving forward. Things like ripping out Rabbit, which is a pretty heavy part of that ingestion architecture currently, and relying on more RESTful transaction history and focus on only pushing over newly confirmed and pending transactions via WebSocket, and this hopefully uh, allowing us to be a little bit more performant on the front end as well. So yeah, just getting discussions going on that this week. I'll let Adam add anything else he would like to when he's up in a few. Up next, Conscience.
Hola. Some back-end stability improvements on things. It appears that Ripple has gotten to the point where it's so aggressive that it needs more IOPS on its disks in order to stay properly synced. So we're going to do a GP3 migration for it. We did that in staging last week. The staging nodes have kept up the whole time. It's been nice. We also have some chatty coin query stuff that we're dealing with in real time already. Later this week, make Thorchain great again, bring all of its services back online as soon as our nodes are finished. Resyncing from scratch after the consensus failure event that happened recently. Tomorrow morning, we're going to be doing some RDS maintenance on the legacy platform, moving to Postgres 12 and also T4G instances. It should make things a lot cheaper for us to support for the foreseeable future. And then finally, later this week, I'll be submitting the infrastructure budget allocation proposal for the DAO to enable the DAO to start running its own stuff. That's all I have.
Mr. Nerdhair, that's your cue.
Right. Sorry. Top priority right now is Pendo review. It's on my screen right now, and I'm going through it. I have Yearn router to go through as well. Probably won't be as big of a lift as the Pendo though. The RDP proposal should see some movement this week, and if I have any leftover time, then I'll work on getting the native crypto stuff moved into web workers to make Web v2 faster and shinier and better. And that's it for me.
Cool. Thank you, Mr. Nerdhair. And thank you, Josh, for accommodating my just-in-time insights again. So I guess to jump into it, what you heard in pretty good detail from DeFi and Kevin around refactors and making Unchained lighter was very, very solid explanations there. So when we set out and started building what's known as Unchained today, it was targeted for our centralized platform. So it has some more enterprisey components like RabbitMQ, and was built with the intent of storing, caching users' TX data server side as we had always done. So with this shift to decentralized, we have an opportunity, really an obligation, to make that back end a whole lot lighter in order to facilitate incentivizing operators to run those nodes and keeping the cost to the DAO to a minimum. The other big piece is sort of cleaning up and finalizing some of the abstractions that are coded into web, maybe to a greater degree than they should be, or they should live more sort of in our library layer that's reusable across interfaces and conducive to sort of pattern setting for implementing similar features. Thorchain jumps to mind. That'll probably be one of the near-term things we want to get after in V2. And then I was going to say demos this week, reading Josh's thoughts. He was asking about canceling them. So I guess I'll make that the transition over to Josh.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Adam. What do you think? We've got the retros Wednesday afternoon. Should we keep the demos? Is there
So with the launch and the short week last week, I know that other than what we launched and is out there and live, not a lot has changed that I'm aware of. It's always possible people have things to demo that I'm just overlooking. So I'd say if we have solid material for it, let's do it. Otherwise, we can take this one off.
DeFi,
Start
what do you
again in
think?
2 weeks.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, do you think we've got stuff for demos on Wednesday? We're gonna have the retro Wednesday afternoon. I was wondering if we keep the demos or if we cancel them on Wednesday morning.
I mean, I could demo some performance stuff, but I think it's probably pretty safe to cancel them.
Okay. All right. All right, let's just go ahead and cancel them, knowing that we're going to take a whole bunch of engineering time on Wednesday afternoon for the retros too. Okay, so yep, the retros are the open source retro Wednesday from 2 to 5. It'll be in the general channel, open for the community to attend. If you're in Denver and you're interested in coming in person, please DM me. As we just discussed, we're gonna cancel the demos and we're gonna have spend the engineering time on the retro this Wednesday instead. A documentation, so we're gonna start focusing more on some documentation. We're not gonna become a documentation heavy team here at all, but what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to leverage the open source developer community in helping us build features and fixing bugs. And for that, we need alignment and to be able to communicate our technical direction. And we want to be able to do that with a open source developer community that is global and works all hours around the clock. So the way to be able to do that is with some better documentation that helps people know what kind of technical decisions to make when we're looking at implementing new code. So we're just going to be talking about that, and we already have been talking about it as an engineering work stream, and I think it'll be really great for us. For me, I'm still looking at recruiting and figuring out really what I want to do first is figure out how we're going to vet candidates, and mostly that involves giving them projects, open source projects to do, so we get a feel for working with them and exactly how we determine which ones they could take, and making sure we've got a little bank of them ready to go before we start promoting around that we are recruiting. That's where the current thinking is for that. Let's see. We got the bounty. I got the 95% bounty payout. If you looked in the engineering public channel, I announced this. And almost everyone who qualifies for the bounty for their contribution, I have sent you your funds. If you're one of the ones that was involved and has not yet received it, you have a DM from me, and please respond to that. I'd love to just finish that out. I'd love to finish that out today, if possible. I'm out tomorrow. I've got a routine standard medical thing happening, so I'm really not going to be much available. And then I'm also going to be out December 10th through 17th. I'll be at a silent meditation retreat, like turning in all electronics for a full week. It will be very weird. I think it'll be great, but I will be totally unavailable during that time as well. And yes, our ShapeShift vision of self-sovereignty. We are continuing to march in that direction. If you want to see how we're going to be able to do it better as an engineering team, the retro is a great experience of some really honest reflection and figuring out of what we can do better. So hope you can join us, and I will pass it on to Diggy.
Thank you, Josh. GM, everybody, and happy Monday. Mobile app, not too much going on. We are just, continuing some of the conversations around the future of the mobile app, and then just doing some UX for Cosmos staking because it so closely follows Osmo. So we figured we'd just get that done. Web, we have a lot of stuff going on in web. The V2, there will be continue to be some UI improvements, and that's supposed to say copy updates that we're working on. Osmosis, bonding designs, those are pretty much done. There's a couple things that I want to tweak, and then that's ready to go. On Juno and Gem implementations into the new web app, we're working on both of those things. On Juno, we're just waiting on some pieces from their end, some technical stuff. And once we get that, those should be hopefully Beard specials to get those two integrated as fiat on and off ramp providers. And then we're starting on some specs and some UX discovery on LPing and farming in alpha, and displaying DeFi positions. Brainstorming has started for that. And that's displaying DeFi positions across multiple protocols into the alpha web app. And then borrowing and lending, we're also starting on some just brainstorming for those. And then .com, the buy sell crypto page, is almost done. And then Hoff is working on the asset list to show all of our supported assets on .com. And then last week he got up the newsletter page that has all the newsletters that the DAO has published on the .com website as well. And then priorities this week, just any small UI improvements for alpha, and then the proposal to have the alpha version with analytics, hopefully moving that into Snapshot as Mr. Nerd here said he's reviewing that. So just waiting on his final thumbs up. And then working on the proposal to fund the product workstream beyond December 31st. And that will now include the creative services group. That proposal passed from Gray Machine. And then we do have a PM candidate starting December 27th. I will announce that formally. I'm just going to do like a little write-up, and then he might be changing his Discord handle. So I want to get those things buttoned up before I make the announcement. And that's it for me. I will pass it to Fox McCloud. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Diggy, GM all. A little bit of a repeat. I apologize. That Anjuno spec, we're just awaiting some input from the Anjuno team, but that should be progressing nicely. The new bug board should be full of bugs now. Everything that's been reported, either internally or externally, has been converted into a ticket and should be sitting there. I like to see that there's been some good progress made. We have a couple bugs about Thorchain that will hopefully resolve once Thorchain's back up, which should be sometime tomorrow, it sounds like. We're continuously updating the roadmap. Working on a spec right now to bring Alpine and farming from beta to alpha and hopefully start deprecating beta. And then one thing I did want to chat about is how we want to handle the bug board for centralized bugs. I know for cost cutting and savings, we are getting rid of Combinize, which is totally fine, but that is where we were handling that. We can probably chat about it offline if we want to. But definitely something we want to figure out, and hopefully those will be fewer and fewer as time progresses, as more things become more V2 focused. A couple updates from Willie. He was unable to make this meeting, but he is meeting with IOTA tomorrow to discuss the IOTA community adding support for IOTA and their upcoming EVM compatible L2 solutions, which was pretty exciting. If you guys saw, the DeFi safety report on ShapeShift came out, getting us up to 90%. We were below 30%, I believe. So big shout out to Mr. Nerd here and DeFi Cafe for helping with that. And then as a product team, we're also brainstorming how to give native wallet users a path to retrieve their seed and bring it over to V2 post auth. So all things we're working on, but yeah, should be a good Monday and busy week. And I'll pass it over to anyone else.
Thank you for that, Fox McCloud. Is there any other comments or questions, news to
Josh.
share?
I just wanted to kind of talk to the engineering work stream and say I'm working on a proposal for ETH Denver. And I think that it could be awesome to have someone from the engineering work stream kind of as like the representative in some of these discussions. They obviously have a huge community of builders, and it might be a great opportunity for us to recruit some people for engineering work stream, or even to put up some bounties or participate in the hackathon. So I just wanted to, put that out there, let you guys know that, I'm intending to move my proposal forward and would love some input from engineering workstream and maybe even a specific kind of delegate. Maybe that's you, Josh, or maybe someone else from leadership.
I mean, I'll volunteer to take that on if there's someone else on the engineering work stream who's really keen on this, and I will defer to them. Otherwise, I'm happy to do it.
Great. Yeah, I'll keep tagging you and stuff. And if you are planning on going, just another pitch is they already got like 2,000 applications. So do apply if anybody is looking to go and be a builder or work in the hackathon projects. Thanks.
Thanks for that, Danielle. Tyler.
I wanted to add something really quick too, to kind of add off of what Conscious mentioned earlier. This missed our ops update earlier today as well. There will be some scheduled downtime during that maintenance as we roll over those DBs. It's going to be right now scheduled from about 9 to noon. That shouldn't take all of that time to do that, but there will be some downtime as we roll everything over. And I will be making some announcements in the general channel and operations public as well, so people have a heads up on that.
And thanks for that. And that will be downtime just on the legacy beta dot and the mobile app, not on V2.
Correct.
Tyler, I just noticed that your avatar dances when you speak. Is that right?
Yeah, and one of the cool things in Discord is you can actually upload GIFs for your avatars instead of photos. So then it activates whenever you talk.
Wow. Impressive.
The future, man.
Anybody else have a question or information to share? All right. I hope everyone has a great week. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks all. GM.